Hello, good night. Thanks for tuning into Kareem's Dream. I'm Kareem, and today I finally have my first guest, my wife, Jasmine. The woman who had the vision for our wedding heard me ask, do we need that at basically every stage, and somehow still agreed to sit beside me today. In the last episode, I told you about my version of our wedding, how I turned into Groomzilla, trying to keep everything on schedule, missing half the stuff that we planned, and being jealous of our own guests because they seemed to experience more of our wedding than we did. But that was only my version. Jasmine and I did try to record like this episode one time before, but that lasted about 2 hours. And during that conversation, we didn't even get to the point of talking about the wedding venue. So this time around, we're not doing it from start to finish because I can talk a lot and don't really want to have that in this episode. I want to compare basically what each of us remembers, what we love, what we miss, and what we would do differently now that it's July 19th. The wedding was on May 24th. So basically 2 months ago. So without further ado, Jasmine, welcome to Kareem's Dreams.
Hey.
All right. So last time when we were recording this conversation, I asked whether the wedding lived up to what you imagined. And you basically said, like, absolutely, within our means. When you looked around on our wedding day, what made you think, yeah, this feels like us?
Um, that's a loaded question. I'll say what felt like me. So I had envisioned more so. mm, I don't know if that's considered like a Italian garden or what, but basically, I wanted it to be very beautiful landscaping, beautiful grounds, and that's exactly what we got. I loved our venue from the inside out. Unfortunately, the weather didn't pan out like how we expected it to be, where we would have an outdoor ceremony, but we still were able to, still just see the beautiful outdoor areas, and then the indoors were just as nice. So I think overall that that was the foundation of, this is my wedding. This is what I envisioned. And for the whole journey, I think you've kind of just been supportive, but I don't know necessarily like, this is a stamp of this is what Jasmine and Kareem's wedding would look like. I know the Corvette was a big thing for you, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't even know how to like put it into words, but for me, I don't know. I kind of feel like I was supporting in a way. Um, really, like I didn't feel. I don't think I ever really thought about what my wedding would look like. I don't think I ever really envisioned it or anything. And honestly, that's why, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I feel like it's your wedding. Like, I don't know how to best explain that. Yes, it's our wedding. Yes, we both were there. Yes, we got married. But it's like, this was your baby. This came out of your mind. Um, and, besides seeing family, like, yeah, I was really excited for that Corvette. But with that in mind, me basically seeing this as your baby and wanting this to go as you planned it and as you communicated to me of what you were expecting. I mentioned in the last episode, I did turn into Groomzilla the night before. What was that like for you?
It definitely came as a shock. Because you're not someone who typically lashes out like that. So yeah, I was kind of just stunned. Like what exactly is happening here? And I just wanted to de-escalate the situation because I didn't want other people feeling, some kind of way. And, I just know that tensions are high when it comes to large events like that, especially weddings, and a lot of personalities and trying to rally the troops and people not listening and not maliciously or, anything like that. Honestly, it was just the excitement of it all. We all had just arrived on that day, and we're trying to have rehearsal, and people are rolling in and having side quest conversations and, oh my goodness, so happy to see you, or banter and just jokes and stuff like that. So I understand when it's a lot of pressure, like, hey guys, like we have a wedding to attend in the morning. Let's get it together. So yeah, it is what it is, but it was definitely a shock to see you turn into Groomzilla.
Look, I don't got nothing to say. There was a lot of witnesses that said I allegedly did what I allegedly had done, and we're just gonna leave it at that. But for me, it very much was like I'm channeling my inner Jasmine, and this is what I think Jasmine would want, or what I think Jasmine would say if it were just me and Jasmine in the room right now. But like you said, you kind of was shocked, and you just kind of stood there, and I was just like, I'm doing the right thing as her husband, and not realizing that that's not what you wanted. So look, it is what it is. We made it through that night. We made it from the rehearsal dinner, the rehearsal. We rounded up the troops, and yeah. So after the rehearsal, like walk through and everything, and us kind of figuring things out, I know me and the guys went back to the room, and we probably, at least I know for me, I got into bed at like 12 o'clock, and I was up by like 8. What did that look like for you?
I went to bed at like 3:45 and woke up at 6 a.m. Yeah.
So I know why you got up so early, right? You had to get your makeup done and whatnot, but I'm gonna let you explain it. Why did you go to sleep so late though?
I went to sleep late because the night before we had the rehearsal dinner, we got back, had the actual rehearsal, and then I handed out all of the items to the wedding party. So we had t-shirts for the gentlemen, um, yoga sets for the girls, robes, slippers, like all the little cute trinkets and gifts that you would typically see the wedding party receive the morning of, just to kind of mitigate us being late, which we still were. Um, I try to hand out a lot of those things the night before, and then we had like a job for everybody on our wedding party. So one of the jobs was to be a content creator. So the content creator wanted us to shoot 20 takes of different content and stuff like that. So that took up time. And by the time we were done, or I was done with wrapping up all of that with everyone else, um, I had to unwind from that day and kind of shift into the mindset of I'm getting married tomorrow, and worrying about my dress and laying my stuff out and making sure that I was prepped for early in the morning, when the makeup artist and hairstylist was arriving.
Got it, got it. Yeah, like I said, I was having sweet dreams. Woke up at 8 o'clock, and got on with my day. Um, Pretty much it was kind of smooth sailing for me. Like once I woke up, outside of the shenanigans of my father arriving late, but the night before, my boy Brandon pulled me to the side and basically, called me out on being Groomzilla. So I was trying to be very mindful of how I approached that day, and, how I interacted with everyone. But for the most part, outside of like my dad, I think, uh, well, I was late to the wedding, and you were also late. So what was your morning like? Because I already told my story on the last episode. So please tell yours.
My morning was actually really calm. I woke up on time, immediately called my sisters because their appointments were first in line for hair, at what was that, 7. My hair was also starting at 7. So that was really peaceful. Woke up, we said a prayer together. Then, moved into taking my shower, getting ready. Um, It's pretty quiet for a while until I want to say, I don't know, maybe 9. 9, I started to hear chatter like in the hallways and, people starting to come to my room and stuff. And then it really just amped up. Like I heard all of the voices of like aunties and cousins and women just like back and forth and the excitement going on. People starting to roll into my room with their hair completed, their makeup done. Um, Speaking with the day of coordinator, just managing things from, my chair. What else? The photographer rolling in, the florist rolling in, like all of the vendors appearing. Um, yeah, the day pretty much went smoothly. It was just like a lot of moving parts. And to be honest, I think us being late really wasn't on us. Like we were up, we were dressed and ready, but some of the vendors were showing up like a little later than anticipated or when they should have by like, let's say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't know. So it kind of skewed the schedule. And I really wasn't willing to forego any of the things that I had lined up for us, which was, taking pictures. So we kind of switched up the schedule a little bit in terms of like the amount of pictures we took, and we didn't get any group pictures in the first outfit. But yeah, it really wasn't on us. I don't have any feedback as to why we were late aside from the vendors. Like we did as best as we could. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this episode is being recorded like 2 months after, so we've had some time to debrief. But like that day, I knew nothing of that, and I just assumed that Jasmine was being Jasmine. And I already warned our closest family, or my closest family members, because this is their first time coming to an African wedding and really getting to know Jasmine as the woman that I have known and loved for all these 10 years. Um, but the wedding started, what, like an hour late or an hour and a half late?
I don't remember. I really don't. Like that part was such a blur and so just like chaotic. Like it turned into so much chaos that I kind of just was like, I'll be there. like I and at that point I didn't have my phone or anything like that. I was just kind of like running like with the photographer, videographer, the bridesmaids, just loading into the limo and just like we need to be there. But at no point did I have like a phone to really know like, oh shit, like we're super behind.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had left my phone in the car as well. So when I was in the room waiting for Jasmine, I knew nothing of what was going on, and I really only have like guest stories to go off of. But a lot of them were pissed. I feel like a lot of people from my side were pissed because they got there on time and early, and we tried to plan this in a way that people will get there late and not miss anything. So really, the day worked out well, but because things started later, we ended up having to constrict a lot of the timeline and the plan that we really wanted to do, such as like taking photos and cocktail hour, all this different kind of stuff. But the guests really seemed to enjoy themselves, and we didn't really get to experience any of that. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I would agree. But I hear that a lot with other couples. And I kind of went in with the expectation that that would kind of be the case, but not to that extent. So, like Karim mentioned, we had the plan to do like a table dash. So we wanted to go to each table, take a group photo, just to remember, like, hey, these are the people that were seated together, and just have a picture of each person that attended the wedding, as a nice keepsake. We had a perfume bar. We didn't get a chance to go over there, take a look at it, make our own scent, anything. The expected part was cocktail hour. Like typically the wedding party uses that time to take photos. And considering we weren't doing a first look that already in my mind was like, okay, well, if we're not doing a first look, then we're doing our photos after the ceremony whilst everyone's at cocktail hour, which I heard was spectacular. But yeah, we didn't get to experience that. But outside of that, I don't think there was anything else particularly that I'm like, hey, I missed out on. Um, but just the fact of being left alone as a guest to take in the time and move on your own pace and take it all in, like as the celebrants, like everybody's pulling your attention that day, and you just kind of have to have that healthy balance of thank you so much for being here, but at the same time you also want to experience what you want to experience.
I will say, now that you brought it up, thinking about it, I think I would have rather have the after party, which I'm just saying this because I have never really been to that many weddings. So I can understand a lot of people were trying to explain to us who's having the wedding that the after party is a reception, which is not the case. We had an after party after the reception. But saying that, I really wish, or like just looking back, like in hindsight, we could have had it all at the same venue. Because a lot of people started leaving, and I feel like the vibe was kind of broken going between the two, and the reason that it was broken was because of the DJ. Do you want to get into that or no?
Not really.
Long story short, DJ did some nonsense, and he basically just played a whole bunch of music that was really for like the older folks on Jasmine's side. So none of my people, and they were saying this, and I'm not even saying this like I'm angry or anything, but none of my people really got to dance, and none of our people, like our younger folks, like around our age and younger, got to hear any of Jersey Club or you know I mean, he really didn't play until like we went up there and went to talk to him. Those kind of songs that get you up, cha cha slide and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's neither here nor there. Again, it's over and done with. That was like 2 months ago, like I said already. But now that we're here, we can breathe. We no longer have to think about this. Was the wedding worth it? Not for the sake of marriage, but the wedding ceremony itself.
Oh, absolutely. Like it blew me away. Like the planning was a headache. Absolutely a headache. But just the I'm at a loss for words trying to explain it right now because like that weekend, like yeah, there was like the rain and yeah, it was always like crunch for time, but just like when you slowed down and took it all in, it's just like the excitement, the happiness that it brought pulling up to the hotel and you see all these people coming in from out of town or, stuff like that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, hi, how are you? Haven't seen you, can't wait. Oh my gosh, you're getting married, all the feels. And then the other like big moments for me is just like, yeah, really seeing my canvas come to life. So when I got there for the ceremony and they opened up the doors, I was just like, wow. Like I was blown away. The ceremony space looked beautiful. Our wedding party looked absolutely stunning. Obviously, Karim and I look stunning. But no, everybody looked great. The place looked great. Moving into the reception area, again, the doors open and I was blown away. Like, wow, this looks amazing. And then moving into the after party again was just like, wow, wow. Did that.
Yeah, this is why I always say, like, I complain every step of the way, but Jasmine knows how to just bring fun to my life. And I love her for that. Every time she has gone above and beyond to like execute like a plan or just anything, I'll be like, and I'm not even trying to say this as like, sadness or whatever, but like I'll be trying to think logically and all these different kind of things of what could go wrong and whatnot. Um, and it always just goes like right. Like it just like amazing to have seen like that wedding turn out to be what it was. And, just like thinking about it, like everything was just so beautiful and like seeing all those people there. Like, to be honest, I me and Jasmine, we both thugged it out, but standing up there at the altar watching her come down and then looking over like at people that I haven't seen in years, or just like groups of people that I haven't seen together in years, like that was like overwhelming is not the word, but very emotional. And wow, like thank you for that day. Thank you so much for that. That was an amazing execution. You know, 11 out of 10. Hopefully, never had to do that again. We in this till death do us part.
Absolutely, because yeah, never again.
All right. So after the wedding, like I said, it's July 19th. Does being married feel any different for you, or does it feel like the same as before, just with the ring on it?
Um, Being married feels the same but different. Like we've been together 10 years. We lived together for what, 3, 4 years. Um, so we're in our routines on our day to day, but I think being married, there's two parts to it that feel different. And one is really the title. I feel like the title holds weight. So prior to us getting married and all the things, like it was just like, you know, even though we say like my wife, or I don't think we really said my wife and husband prior to, it was just like, my fiance or my boyfriend, my girlfriend. Like that held weight, but I really like, I think it really hits us and we smile and it's just like, oh, my wife, my husband. Um, it holds a different level of respect. And the second part that feels different is, just being intentional. I feel like all of the cliche things, and I feel like a old wisdom grandmother is speaking, but it's just like, being intentional is what makes marriage feel different, because you choose each other every day and make sure that your marriage is sacred. So be respectful and continue to date each other and all those kind of things. Yeah, intentionality is something that really should be the foundation of the start of a good marriage.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I think Jasmine said it best. Like, being able to call her my wife is without a doubt like probably the best thing about being married. I haven't really sat down and thought about, all like these kind of things, but I love that. Like, as men, we don't get like engagement rings or watches or anything. So I was like wearing my wedding ring months prior to uh getting married. One, because I'm like, we've been together for so long, and two, I was just like, I just want to feel what it feels like, to have my ring on and get used to it, so that way it doesn't feel foreign on the day. But I always kind of felt like a fraud when, you know, talking to people. Like, I'll kind of put my hand in my pocket because I'm like, I'm actually lying about this, and I don't like lying for the sake of, lying. But it's just a great feeling now. It's like, yeah, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife. Some Jasmine had a nail appointment and they called and she was like, "Oh, can you pick up the phone for me?" And I picked up and he was like, "Hello, Jasmine." Da, da, da. I'm like, "No, this is her husband. My wife is going to be there at the appointment. Thank you. Have a good day." And like that just, I don't know, like I felt 6'12". Like I felt tall, like being able to say that, like, yeah, I'm her husband and that's my wife. And it just like it just brings another level of like masculinity to me. I don't know how to explain it, but like I don't know. I'm just sitting here cheesing right now. But we are going to do a lightning round. We're basically going to answer a few questions and give the answer that comes first to mind. You ready? All right. So, one word for the wedding. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Best thing we ate or drank. Apple cider.
Stuffed shrimp.
All right. One moment you wish you could replay.
Walking down the aisle.
I was thinking walking down the aisle too. I don't even have anything for this one. She stole my answer. All right. One decision you would make again immediately in New Jersey. Doing it in New Jersey.
Getting a cheap cake. I don't know. We're not big cake people. I don't care. So I'll make that decision over and over again. Like I didn't go like a 18-foot tier cake. 3 tiers is enough. Simple design. I'll do it over and over again.
The crazy part about it is we literally had one crumb of that cake until like Thursday. The wedding happened on Sunday. Thursday, we actually finally had one slice each. And that's all the cake that we had. All right. So, who was more stressed about the wedding?
Me.
Jasmine. Who recovered faster?
Karim,
Jasmine.
Karim.
No.
I was asleep for like a month, Karim. I was just drained, just sleeping.
Bruh. Right after the wedding, I was not. You were still hustling and bustling and doing chores and whatnot, and I was in a hotel just dead to the world. Don't ask me for nothing. I went downstairs, ate a little food, came back upstairs, went back to sleep.
And you recovered faster.
All right. All right. So finish the sentence. Our wedding was not perfect, but it was
special. Is it just supposed to be one word?
I guess so. All right. Well, there you go. Our wedding was special. So, when you think about me on our wedding day, what is one moment you hope I never forget?
The moment we saw each other. So that's basically when the pastor said, Kareem, go and get your woman.
I kind of already forgot that moment.
I can't forget it for multiple reasons. That happened because my dad, was having issues walking. Sorry, I'm sick. Dad was walking me down the aisle and his leg kind of started to give out. So we stopped there, and it also aligned with the program because we were supposed to stop at the end of the aisle anyway. And that's the typical protocol where who hands off this woman to be wedded, and he does, and Kareem comes and gets me. But so that happened, and then my mom just repeatedly has talked about this portion of the ceremony because she was so tickled by it when the reverend said that to you. So it's ingrained into my brain.
I'm sitting here trying to think, what would I not want you to forget? And I'm racking my brain for all the special moments that one should not forget. And honestly, I forget a lot of moments. That's why I take a lot of pictures and videos. But I never want you to forget the feeling of saying I do.
Oh, don't leave me. Don't leave me.
I was struggling trying to get that out because she started making faces like I killed that. But I'm really just like struggling.
Yeah, I would agree. Really just, the very important piece of the ceremony where we're saying our vows to each other, which was funny in and of itself. That's a story in itself. We didn't really say any vows to each other minus the traditional ones. We said some on the fly ones, it makes us us.
Look, I'm going to just say what I said because you try to ask me this 2 years from now, I'm not going to remember unless it shows in the video. Hopefully, we're actually still waiting on that from the photographer. But I basically said, I will wait for you until the end of time because, I want everybody to know, like, my wife always going to be late. And that's my wife. And I'm going to wait for her. And y'all go do the same thing. So it is what it is. Hey, like I said in that one episode, I feel like my wedding was making me an a-hole. So it is what it is, right? But I think we're done here. It's not 2 hours. It's a really short episode. So, you got any last words that you want to say?
This was fun. See you guys soon.
All right. Well, that's what she had to say. So, Jazz, I just want to say thank you for being my wife and my first guest. I love you, and I just want to thank you once again because you were here for 2 hours trying to get this out, and you came to me this morning very bubbly and full of life, and you're like, "Let's go, let's do it." So, thank you. I really appreciate you. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I just want to say, you know, thanks again for tuning into Kareem's Dream. Can't wait to chat with you in the next one. Peace. Yo, Jasmine says she want rap. All right, so we about to do it right now.
Just wrapped up Kareem's dream. It's really a dream team. Ooh, we out here did it. Hey.